Today, we are going to find out how to deal with skinny fat. And you might be wondering, what does that even mean? And really, when someone is skinny fat, we mean that they don't weigh a lot, they don't look like they're really overweight per se, but they're carrying a disproportionate amount of fat, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're not carrying enough muscle. And so we are going to address that today and talk about how to get rid of that, how to break out of it, because it can be something that really kind of just wears on you, right? So let's talk about, we're going to talk about how to deal with that. So number one, and this one is so foundational, is heavy compound lifts, because the way to get around and deal with skinny fat is you have to put some muscle on the body, and then we'll talk about fat reduction, but we have to take care of putting muscle on that body first. So what does that mean? Well, we're talking about heavy compound movements. Now, first of all, when we say heavy, it's all relative to what you can lift with good form, proper technique, and not swinging the weights or momentum or anything like that, okay? What are the compound lifts? Well, we talk about the main compound lifts, so bench press, deadlift, squats, shoulder press, chins, or wide grip pull down, something along those lines. Those are the major multi-joint moves that are going to engage not just, when I do bench press, it engages chest, but it's also going to engage my shoulders, my triceps, and different parts like that. So we want to look for those big movements that we can then add whatever weight we can reasonably manage, and make sure that we are putting ourselves under strain to do those. So, just going in and doing some reps. I did some reps on a bench press, or I did some reps on a squat. That's not going to do anything for your body getting engaged to respond to what you're doing by building muscle. So what do we want to do? You want to stick in a rep range that is somewhere between 6 and 10 reps. And that, not that you can just do 6 or 10 reps, but that when you get to 10 reps, you are at the point of failure. So you have 2 to 3 reps left, and you're at 10 reps, great. That's a good weight to be. Or even if you're at 8 reps or 6 reps, and you think, maybe I've got 1 rep, maybe 2 reps, that's a good weight for that set. And what we want to do is progressively get heavier and heavier with the weights. And the rule of thumb is real simple. Once you can do a weight for 10 reps, add 2.5, 5, or 10 pounds to the next set, because what that will do is bring you down from 10 to probably 6, and then you keep working on it and keep working on it and keep putting your body under strain so that it responds by adding muscle. So that's number one, heavy compound lifting to get out of the skinny fat trap. Number two is we want to be eating the right macros. So that's the right breakdown of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And we want to be eating in a slight calorie surplus. So in order to do that, you're going to need to know what your maintenance calories look like. And you can find that out by getting, you can get body scans done. You can get, you can use, we did an episode where we broke down all the different ways of figuring out what your body composition is at. There's a DEXA scan and everything else in between. But the point is, find out what that number is, and then just a slight increase. So 10% increase in your calorie intake. Why is that? Because we want to add that muscle. So you're doing the work with the heavy compound lifting. Now you want to give your body the fuel so that it can build that muscle and add that muscle back. And as far as protein intake, and this is probably one of the most important things, is you want to be aiming to consume about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, so that you can, again, your body needs that protein so that it can respond by adding muscle to what you did to it at the gym. Okay, number three, and this one you're going to have to figure out how to make it work for you, but some way of tracking what you're eating, whether it's right down to the calories, whether it's maybe I just track it by meal. There's different apps that you can use. Sometimes I use MyFitnessPal. that helps with just keeping track of things. And of course, I have a coach. That might be something you might want to consider also. But I have a coach, so I know every day what I'm consuming for calories and for macros and all of those things, because that's part of our, our plan that we work out. But here's the thing. If you don't track it, you won't know what's really happening. And in general, here's what most people, where they make the mistake. Most people, they think they're consuming less calories than they actually are, and they can think they're consuming more protein than they actually are. So guess what? That's the complete opposite of what we want to do. We want to know the calories we take in and not guess. And we want to make sure that we have the right protein number coming in as well. Track your progress at the gym. Like when I go to the gym, I have stacks of books. You figure out what works for you, but I have stacks of these books over the years that I'm filling out at all my lifts, and so that I can look at them at the next workout and okay, well I made some improvements here. I didn't make some improvements here. Why not? And then I'll have notes in there like, I ran out of time this day, or maybe I tweaked my back a little bit here, so I backed off on this exercise. But it's important for you to have some record of what's going on, because a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, you probably, if you're like me, you're not going to remember what you did 3 weeks ago at the gym. So make sure you're doing that. Now, once you've started this, you need to probably be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 weeks of consistently sticking to this program. Because here's the thing, muscle does not grow overnight. I wish that it would, but it does not grow overnight. So you need to give it the time and commit to the process. So 3 to 4 months, you need to make right from the start, say, okay, I'm committing to do this. The other thing you can do that will help with gauging progress is taking progress photos. So, in my case with my coach, I send in photos to him every Saturday morning. And I weigh in every Saturday morning in the same fasted state. So it's consistent all the way through. Now, here's the other thing, patience. I know we don't always like to hear that, but you need to be patient with the process and understand that as you do that, this is going to be adding muscle. Now, there's a step 4 to this, which is after we've gone through that 8 to 12 weeks, now we can start looking at, okay, I want to work on the fat loss phase of this. So I've worked at building up some muscle, I've added back some muscle, and now I want to work on showing some of that muscle. And how can I do that? Well, that comes now we come to cutting some calories. So, rule of thumb, you can look to cut somewhere between 10 to 20% of your calorie intake and start to calculate that as you go. And as you see your weight come down, you're going to have to adjust those calories a little bit, but you just consistently stay with it. Now, here's the other thing, is you're going to need to add in some cardio, and we're not looking for high intensity cardio. You can do that if you want, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 minutes. Every time you go to the gym, you need to be committing to that cardio time, whether you do it before you work out or a different time or whatever it might be. But you want to stick with low intensity cardio. So walking, a bike, treadmill, go outside for a walk, go for a bike ride outside. The main thing is we want to focus on preserving the muscle and showing off or taking off the fat, and the muscle that we put on and taking off the fat that's there now, and that low intensity moves will help you get there. And then just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until you have the physique that you are looking for, that you want to have. And this, I guarantee you, if you will do this process, you will deal with skinny fat and never have to have that issue again, where you're carrying fat on your body, but there's not really any muscle. So thank you for joining me today. Give me a like for the video, appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. We are putting out lots of content every week, and want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. We'll see you next time.